Hey everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and I want to say that I'm sorry I didn't get to do a Stampin' 101 yesterday on Friday like I usually do. So to make it up for you, I thought I would do a live Stampin' 101, and I have, what is that that's in the way? My camera holder. I don't do facing very much, so everything is opposite for me. So I thought I would do a little bit of a preview of some things that I got, and then go ahead with the geez oh whiz, YouTube, forget where I am, the YouTube 101. So what we're going to be doing today is dry embossing, and I'm going to show you a couple of tips about dry embossing, what you can do, a couple different ways to do it. There's a couple different types of embossing folders, and then just after you have your embossing folder, there's a couple different things you can do with it. So I'm going to go ahead and flip you around, so pardon me for just a second. Nope, come on. There we go. Okie dokies. So let me show you. Sorry, try to get this to stop moving. Every time I touch it, it'll get crazy. So if you just joining me for the first time, my name is Rachel, and I have a website, Rachthestamper, and I do a lot of demonstrations of all kind. I have been a stamper for a really long time. However, I've only been an active demonstrator for about a year and a couple months. So I kind of figured I love making cards and really all kinds of projects. So I thought I will make videos because I'm making the cards anyway. So that's kind of how I got started, just to give you a little background. But anyway, you can follow me here on YouTube. I try to put out, except yesterday I didn't, a 101 every Friday, which are kind of just like beginner stamping tips. And then I try to put out videos through the week, but my son had a surgery, so I'm still catching up a little bit from that, plus with Easter coming. But anyway, I thought I would share my little preview of some things that I got, and then I will show you the dry embossing techniques. So these are 3 of the new in colors in the new upcoming 2017-18 annual catalog: Fresh Fig, Tranquil Tide, and Lemon Lime Twist. And I gotta tell you, at first I wasn't sure if I was gonna like this one, but I love it. It's so fun. But these 2 are really my favorites so far. I still haven't gotten my other order in yet, so I really can't compare it to the actual colors. But anyway, so I got those 3, and then they had this little bundle we could get with these super cute tassels. I made a cool project with this. I'll have to share it with you sometime soon. And then, and I'm sorry, I think that was Ashley. I apologize, Ashley. My camera's like a little weird where it's located, so I didn't see you right away. So sorry if I missed that. These are stickers, and they are called, these are new, sorry, Eastern Gold Vinyl Stickers. And these coordinate with this gorgeous new bundle. It's called Eastern Palace. I keep wanting to call it Eastern Promises. I think I saw that movie like a long time ago with, God, I can't even remember that crazy guy's name in it. But anyway, and I don't know, I keep calling it Eastern Promises. I'm going to try my best to call it Eastern Palace. For some reason, I'm just goofing that up. But anyway, so this set kind of looks small when you look at it, but these stamps are really big. I mean, look at the size of these, and they layer really awesomely. So like, if you want to stamp, this is just a little like a tag doodad that I made. But these are layers. It also has a matching framelit set, which I'm going to show you in a second. But these are a lot. So that's stamped with the outline. These are a lot bigger than what they look on here. And you're kind of like in the catalog, that's really tiny. These are really tiny. They're not really that tiny. The thank you. Actually, let me show you, for example, this one. To think of you is to smile. It's kind of tiny on here, but it's really a pretty good size. It's a beautiful script. I absolutely love this script. And the font. It's so pretty. So if you get the new catalog when you do get it, and if you don't have one yet, if you shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com, I will certainly send one out as soon as I get them. It's kind of looks tiny. It's not tiny. It's beautiful, and it's rich. It's really one of my, I mean, it's the first one I got out of the catalog. I did get a couple things at convention, but it's really, really, really pretty. So this is the stamp set. And sorry, I was making a project here. These are some of the little dies that are in. Let me see if I can pull this. I think it's underneath. Oh, of course it is. It's probably all the way at the very, oh, here it is, at the very bottom. But, sorry, a little disorganized. These are the thinlits. And what I actually do is I get magnet sheets and I just stick them on because I tend to lose all these little doodads. So I am a little bit cheap or thrifty or whatever you want to call it, but I order mine from Amazon, and it's just a magnet sheet. And then what I do is I kind of trace the piece of paper it's on and just cut it with scissors, and then I stick it to what comes in, because they actually on these new ones give you a little diagram of how to make your sandwiches for your Big Shot, which is super helpful because you can really easily ruin these if you don't do them correctly. So they now have these little diagrams on the back, which I think were really helpful. I just noticed this the first time myself. But basically anything with an open die, you want to use your cutting pads, your regular cutting pads. And then the detailed die is when you want to pull out the precision base plate. And then there's another thing I'm going to show you when we actually use the Big Shot, because the regular embossing folders versus the dynamic, you don't want to use all of your pieces or you probably could crack them. And I myself accidentally sometimes put too many things in, so just learn from my mistakes. But anyway, the other thing I want to advise you of when you do get these, and I'm sure if you've gotten any dies from Stampin' Up before, you know, they're pretty thin. But that tape they have on there is like no tape I've ever seen in my entire life. And you really want to be careful when you pull this one off. I almost bent it in half when I pulled it off because I was a little bit too excited. So just take your time. Make sure you're careful with it. A couple other demonstrators have said what they do is they just run the whole entire sheet through on like a piece of wax paper just to cut it and kind of loosen up the tape. So that's another good idea of what you could do. But these are really cool because you could use them together. You could, you know, you could layer them. You could leave out this middle one and you could cut these two together. So these are really fun. And I'm going to show you, I have a couple of things here, and I haven't put all these on Facebook yet, so I've only put one. You guys will get to see, but this is using this stamp set, all three of these layered together, and it makes this really, really pretty, like a little cutout window. And then what I did is I took the coordinating stamp set and just put this little circle on the inside and a little sentiment. I mean, how pretty is that? Because it's just tone on tone. So this is Tranquil Tide on Tranquil Tide cardstock. And then just for a little bit of something extra, what I did is I punched this out in Very Vanilla. And then I went over again with, whoopsie, hold on, got a little technical difficulty. I went over with the Fresh Fig, and I used this, which this is really cute. It's like kind of hard to describe. It almost looks like drops, like drips, if you can see that right there. It's really cute. So I went around it with that and then just put the sentiment inside because I thought it would be fun, like a little bit of a different color. So that was, I thought, pretty cool. And then I got to use a whole bunch of different stuff on here. I did get a little crazy with my pattern, but I thought, it's my first one. And then the other thing that might throw you off a little bit on these, some of these dies don't actually cut the entire paper out. For example, this one is adorable. So I ran it through, and this is what it looks like. So it kind of leaves these little pieces up, which is very, very cute. However, if you think it's going to punch itself all the way out, that's really not necessarily the way it works. So what you can do is, I did this one, and I don't think I can find it now, but I ended up doing was I used a 1 and I think 3/4 inch circle punch just to punch it out. So I think I kind of made that here. So it punches out, and then you can add it to the circle. Or instead of doing that, you can go ahead and do what I did on this card. You can stamp your card all up. This piece I think stuck back to the tape. You can stamp your card, and then what I did is I took this and I layered it right on top of that piece that I stamped, and then it just made, so you have these little pop through of color, and that's so fun. So you could do this really all the way around if you wanted to. You could do it on all of them, but I thought it would be cool if you just did it on one and had that little peeking through. And then I kind of just added a little bit. There's so many different elements to that stamp set, makes it really fun to use and different. So, but again, the lemon lime twist, totally not like it kind of looks a little more neon when you first think you see it, but it's definitely more green. But I really didn't think I was going to like it, but it looks so awesome with the Dapper Denim. I mean, those two colors together look so pretty. And then this is on Whisper White. So I thought that would be really cool, just those two together. And that's how you use that little one. Or the other thing you could do, so you could cut this out like that, and then you could take this little guy here and you could frame around it, and then you could cut it out. So that would cut out the complete star in the exact shape that it is. So that's another good idea too. Just realized that one at this moment though, so I'll have to try that later. And another one, this one is over here. These dies, they were a little bit, like I said, they kind of threw me for a loop, so I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to explain them. And then you have this little guy here, which is this. Same thing again, so this cuts this out, and then it kind of makes these little creases in it so you can fold them up. But when this originally pops out, all the edges are still closed in, if that makes sense. So when you, what I'll do is when we're done with our embossing thing, I'll kind of show you that. So what you could do is you could take this and layer around it to match it up so it will cut it out. So at the end, I will try my very best to remember because I can be a little forgetful. I will try to show you these two layered together, this one and this one, because I haven't done that myself, so that'll look cool. But anyway, the other thing I did is I just used a 1 1/4 inch circle to punch out the sentiment, and then I'll just add this with like a dimensional. And you could use this on a tag. You could use it with the I think the banner triple punch or the scallop tag topper, and make like a little gift tag with that. I thought that was a really cute idea. But anyway, so this is this little doodad here. And then another one, which is really pretty, is this stamp set. Same thing I did again, tone on tone. So this is the Fresh Fig, which I love figs, so I will never forget this color, I think, so long as I live. But I did Fresh Fig on Fresh Fig, so it kind of gives the tone on tone. And then I used the little stickers that come in the, what's this called again? Apologize. Eastern Gold vinyl stickers. So this has all kinds of different stickers, but it also has these little lines. So I took one off and laid it across and then kind of relayered it on the bottom. Added a little sticker here. It's not quite as centered as I'd like it to be, but this is so pretty. I just went around the edge with a sponge and sponged the edge of it. The font, the script, the cursive, I love cursive. Nobody writes in cursive anymore. All we do is text. So if you get a card that's in cursive, and especially as beautifully as this is written, that really makes my day. But anyway, I digress. So this was really easy, and then I just put a tiny bit of Wink of Stella. You could also put a teeny bit of Versamark, and then put a little bit of gold embossing powder just to bring the gold up if you wanted to repeat the pattern up there. But I thought that was really fun. And I think that's all I have right now. I have one other one, but I can't show it to you yet. So let me move on. Let me get this out of the way. I'm going to put this on the side so I remember to use it. And here's the other one I was showing you. So this is this little guy here that I showed you that I popped out earlier. And then what I did is I punched it with a circle, but we're going to try it again with that other piece and see what that looks like, because I guarantee it'll be cuter than this. Don't know if they still teach cursive. I don't think they do teach cursive, which makes me super, super sad, because I remember in school I had to learn cursive, but I went to private school, so, and that was a really, 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 really long time ago, so I don't think they teach that any longer. And then this is just the stamp set, and then I cut it out with the matching framelit. But there's a lot of really cute little pieces in here. And again, so these are the two. The other one that came in this was Dapper Denim, so everybody kind of knows what that one looks like. But these are the two in colors that come in this pack. So this is a pack of paper that you can buy that goes coordinated with this set, which is a new thing Stampin' Up! Is doing. So they kind of give you 3 colors that go with it, which is really awesome. So this is Fresh Fig, Tranquil Tide, and then I don't have any lemon lime paper. The other 2 colors, I cannot think of the name right now, Berry Burst and like Delicate Pink or something. It's very pretty, really pretty pink. So let me get this out of the way, and I'm going to show you a couple other things. So I want to keep that there before I forget. So a few other things that I got, and this is just for your information on the retiring things. So they are no longer going to have these paper stacks. Now this isn't that. This is 12 by 12 black cardstock, which they're going to have. And I also use a lot of Whisper White, because I like to make a lot of like boxes and 3D stuff. For example, again, I went to convention kind of not thinking when Easter was, and then my son had the surgery that kind of came up at the last minute. So I intended to make this little box, but I never made a lid for it. But I thought this would be really cute, and I just totally got behind on my Easter stuff. So I apologize for that. But I love making boxes, so I just kind of popped this one out. I made this with the craft cardstock. I did stock up on that. It is discontinuing if you haven't gotten any yet. That is one of my favorite things to make boxes with, because it's so neutral. You can dress it up or down. But I get the 12 by 12 because I like making these little things, and a lot of times it takes a bigger piece than 8.5 by 11. So if you're a person that's able to get your hands on some of this just to kind of have it, that way if you want to make something, you'll already have it ahead of time. So they do have basic black, and then the paper stacks are going to be going. So like, I'll show it to you here. I do happen to have one handy. These they coordinated with the color. So this is the Subtles Designer Series paper stack. So this had like the little words and the stripe. They're not going to have these any longer. So if you like these, you should definitely get these before they're gone. And that includes all of them. So no subtles, no in colors, no brights, no neutrals, no regals. And they kind of have gotten away from the packs. They're going to be different, but you're going to kind of have to wait and see because I haven't ordered them yet, so I don't understand. So what I did is I got 12 by 12 neutrals, I got the brights, the regals, and the in color because I love these in colors. And they're going to be gone soon. I think some of these have already even sold out. So this is the Delightful Dijon, Mint Macaron, no, it's not Strawberry Sauce, Watermelon Wonder, Cucumber Crush, and Tip Top Taupe. These are gone super soon. So if you haven't gotten them yet, like your ink or your refill or whatever, you better get it. Because if you don't, you're going to be crying a river on eBay and paying $50 for like 5 ounces of nothing. Just a little bit of celebration stuff I have left, and I'm going to tell you guys about a new special I'm going to do. They also, I don't think are doing these 12 by 12 sheets any longer unless they're reconfiguring them. I use these to keep my Designer Series paper in because it kind of keeps them all together, so that's pretty nice. And then we're getting down here to the bottom. So again, this is the Eastern Palace stack, so it's Fresh Fig, Dapper Denim, and Tranquil Tide. And I just got 2 of those because I had a feeling that I was going to not be able to control myself when I made things, which was true. And then this, well, let me go for this real quick. This is the Designer Series paper stack that matches that, and then I'll explain about this in a moment. So this is really awesome paper. The other thing they're changing is the little mini stacks that they made, like the 6x6s. Trying to think which one is called right. Serene Scenery. You know how they came and they were bound on one end? Let me grab one real quick. They're not going to be bound any longer. They're going to be loose. I'm not sure what difference that made to some people, but I guess some people didn't like it, so I had to tear your sheet out. Well, they're all going to be loose now. So I think they're going to be packaged like this, which is kind of good because it'll get rid of these scrappy pieces that people probably just threw away anyway. And you know, I can't get rid of paper. I'm a little bit of a paper hoarder and an earth muffin recycler, so it's less garbage, I guess. But these are going to be loose now. This is another one that's going to be retiring soon, Serene Scenery. Anyway, this is really very versatile. It's got a lot of different colors in it. The Dapper Denim, and there's the Lemon Lime Twist, like peacock. It's really, really a very pretty paper set. And then there are 2 pieces in the back, which are gold foil. So this one has gold foil. You can see that's really pretty. And then this one is Dapper Denim in gold. Very pretty color combination. And a lot of times things that you don't really necessarily think of. So those are 2 other options that might pique your interest. And the other cool thing that totally sold me on this set was they have thick, very vanilla, which is awesome. Because this will be a super alternative to watercolor paper. If you haven't purchased watercolor paper, or maybe you try not to buy too many different things. I like to color. I do like to color on watercolor paper, but I also like to color on thick Whisper White. Well, now we have thick very vanilla, so that's really cool. And this will be great also if you want to make a neutral card base. So instead of a white base, you could make a vanilla base, and it's going to stand a lot sturdier than if you use just the very vanilla cardstock. So I have not cracked this open yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. And let me show you a couple more things before we get into the dry embossing, and then I'll stop. So these are 3 new sets that are going to be in the new catalog. I was lucky enough that I got these at convention. I went in Richmond just last weekend. It was lots of fun, lots of cool things to see. Anyone is able to go. All you have to do is be an active demonstrator with Stampin' Up. To be a demonstrator, all you have to do is join. You get, I believe it is, I'm trying to think what the special is now, $100 worth of stuff. Maybe it's $124 for $99. You get free shipping, which is humongous, and you get to pick any of the stuff. You can even pick stuff in the new catalog if you join right now. So if you would want to join, all you have to do is go to rachthestamper.stampinup.net, and kind of on like the top right there's a little thing that says join now. You click that, it'll walk you through all the steps, and if you sign up under me, you will get to be added to a fabulous group on Facebook. We have so many resources for cards and ideas, and I don't know what to do, can you help me? The ladies there are so fabulous. So if that's something that you've been thinking about, if you have a big wish list of stuff but you don't really know how to get it, that's a great way to get it. So if that's something you're interested in, I will also throw in some extra goodies if you sign up under me. So make sure you shoot me an email if you do, and I will take good care of you. So this little piggy is adorable. Can't wait to use this. Some friends of mine just got a little tiny miniature pig, so I have to make them a card and send them this. And then this bike ride set, I can't show you the catalog. I wish you could, because the samples that are in there are just so amazing. They have actually stamped this and then punched it out, and it's sticking up 3D on the bike. It's so cute. And then this is kind of something that if you want to do like journaling or really like any kind of, if you have like a planner and you want to be able to put stuff on it, you can use, there are so many little stamps in here. They're really cool. Lots of different stuff in here. And I have not used any of these as of yet. So I don't know what is taking me so long to break into them, but it's just not enough time, I think, is what I'm going to go with. And then one other thing I want to tell you, I'm going to try in the next few weeks, and I say try, and please forgive me if I miss a day or two, but I'm going to try to do some recap, just quick videos with things that are retiring and maybe what I have or haven't done with them. So I'm going to try to get those on maybe like at least twice a week and just show you just a quick video on some information, what stuff is going, maybe if it's a set, like a set that you have, like say you have this set and you don't know what to do with it, or other ways to use it, or you can only see it as superheroes. For example, right now I'm looking at the Birthday Fiesta stamp set, which I dearly love, and it's being discontinued, but I have a totally different way to do it that is not the standard colors that you would think, like blue and yellow and red. So I'll share that with you coming up this week. But what we're going to get onto right now is one other thing. I'll just grab my Big Shot, and I'm going to show you guys just a couple quick tips with, the bike one is really cute. A couple quick tips for dry embossing. So just in case you haven't done this before, I'm going to show you, we'll do these Eastern Thinlits just because if not, I'll forget and we can get that over with, and then I'll show you one other thing. So basically, when you have your Big Shot, if this is what you have, it comes with many different platforms. I generally just use this one. They also have one where you have to flip them open to the different kind of like pages. That one's really easy and it's very self-explanatory, but this is the new one that comes with the Big Shot nowadays. And it's kind of got this little fatter strip in here that goes up slightly that cuts down on the need for so many layers. Now, if you have something thin like the butterfly, not detailed, but just a thinner die, I mean, these will all be, I would say, are thinner as well. These will work great. So like the layering circles, the layering ovals, the layering squares would work well on here. The stitched shape framelits, they would all work well. Any of those kind of things, you can add this in. But this is not a cutting plate, okay? This is only, kind of just gives you like a little layer, basically is what it does. Then you also have the precision base plate, okay? And some people, I had one person was like, well, you don't cut, you gotta cut on this side. This is the cutting. So this actually replaces the need for one of your cutting pads. So you're cutting on this. So this is great because you have all these little detailed doodads and it's gonna cut them much better. I will tell you, sometimes I have run these through wax paper once before I use them. I don't run it through every time, but I do it once. I haven't had any issue with it myself. Some people think it gunks them up, and that's okay. You know, everybody has a different opinion. But when I do these, I still will run it through 2 times. So I'll run it back and forth just so I make sure I get a good press. I've had occasions where on some detailed dies, they just don't seem to pop out as easily. So I usually just run it through twice just because it maybe saves me a minute of doing it. Now, you don't want to use this with these or the ovals or the squares because it will warp them. This is only for stuff that is very detailed and has a lot of little things that you're trying to get rid of. So I would say if you're doing something once, when in doubt, do it with the regular, and then if it doesn't come out, then try this one. But you're also going to remove layers when you do this. You don't want to use this with the magnetic platform. I learned that the hard way. You're going to just put your regular thing in. You still probably have to use your thin die adapter sometimes just to get a little level. But basically you'll know. If it seems like when you're pushing it and it's meeting resistance, back it out and take something out and try again. For example, when you are using these, which are the dynamic textured impressions embossing folders, so these are fat. And these really make huge divots. They will make them even bigger if you spray your paper with a little bit of water before you run it through. It will really, because it really loosens up the fibers, as opposed to this, which is a regular embossing folder, and it's not quite as thick. It definitely will give you an indent, but these, if you can't tell, this is pretty thin. This is significantly thicker. So I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but there definitely is a difference in these two. And if you're running this through with too many layers, you can't even get it in there. So you'll know, and you'll end up not breaking something, but it will stop you before you get to that point. So let me move these out of the way. We'll do the medallions, and then I'll just show you a couple more tips, and we will wrap it up unless anybody has any questions. So let me think here. What did I just do? Let me make sure I'm not doing one of those. Yep, I don't want this. Do as I say, not as I do, because I'm usually the one that's goofing something up. So please learn from my mishaps and mistakes. Okay, so what we'll do for this first one is I'm going to just run this little guy through here, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is kind of to show you the way you can layer it. So you're going to run this through your big shot. Okay, and I'm not going to run this through twice just so I don't waste all of your time. But basically when you do this one, so here's this here, it pops these little guys out. So the other day, I just got this and I had to do it right away, and I thought, well, how the heck am I going to get that out of there? I would have known that. I wouldn't have punched it. So I punched it with a circle. But it seems like you can, let me just flatten this back out, make sure this is in your field of view. You can layer this over here. Okay, let me put this back through. And then these are so pretty, and the colors are really pretty. They're definitely a different take of the colors that just recently are going to retire. So then you have this. Now granted, it's a little bit off, and you might want to use like a post-it note, but that's so pretty. And then you could cut out like a tiny circle punch and put something in the middle. You could use one of these little guys here, layer right in the center. That'll be really pretty. So great layering, great for tags, great for layering on your cards, all kinds of stuff. So that's one. And let me show you the other one. And I'll do this one in the Fresh Fig. Oops. So same thing again. We'll start with a smaller one. And so this one has the little layers that you, if you can or can't see, there's little dots in the center. They're really cute. It's very detailed. And these little things will fold up. But let's put this back through with this around it. And this time I'm going to grab just a quick post-it note just to hold that in place, so it's maybe a little bit more even. And run this back through one more time. And all that cracking is normal. If you've never used it, the first time I used it, I thought, oh my gosh, I just got this expensive thing and now I broke it. And there you go. So there's that little piece. And this is cute. So many little layers. But what I did before this was I had these little tabs here and I kind of just disconnected them. So you can do that too with paper snips. So if you for some reason don't like this, you could just snip them on the edge. That's what I did. You really, I'm trying to think where that one is that I did. You really couldn't tell right here. you can barely see that I actually snipped it there. So you can cut that off if you decide you don't like it. Or the other thing you could do is you could run this through, snip the edges off, and then you could layer one on top of the other. So that would be really cool as well. Okay, now I'm going to show you that I went through those. And see, even when I do something, now I learned something with this as well. So we're like helping each other on this. Let me grab one more thing out of the way. Okay, so what I was going to show you is two things. So when you are going to do these dynamic pieces, so for example, I think this is called hexagon, but I could be wrong because there was a different one back a while ago. I think it was called honeycomb. So I think this one is hexagon. But basically, you can run this through and you will get a very textured feel. If you spray your cardstock with water first, so I mean like tap water, anything, you can use your Stampin' Spritzer. Mine has ink in it, so I'm not really sure how wet this is going to be. Ink and alcohol. This is another digression, sorry. But basically, if you want to spray something, you can add a couple of drops of re-inker and some just rubbing alcohol, shake it up, and you can lightly spritz anything to change the color, which is cool. You could use this on Thick Whisper White, now the Thick Very Vanilla, or on watercolor paper, but I actually used mine for the Easter egg. Oh my gosh, the Easter egg crates that were like in and out of stock, but this is what I did with mine. So I swear it's like I have ADD. I'm going back and forth here, but what I did is I just filled that up and spritzed it. So these were white, and then you can spray them with your little spritzer. But anyway, so you can fill your spritzer up with water. Just spray your cardstock before you run it through. Just spritz it all over. It doesn't have to be wet, just, I mean, not soaking, just lightly wet, and it will really give a lot more depth to it. But when you're going to do this, what you're going to want to do, and I'll do this one, just a piece of Very Vanilla. So you're going to put your piece in, and let me see if I'm doing this even correctly. So I think all you need is a platform and one, yeah, just one cutting pad. Is that right? Yeah, let me get this in the center here a little better. It's going to still feel a little tough at first, but if you had two pads on here, you would not even be able to crank this through. So when you're using these, so again, the Dynamic Textured Impressions Embossing Folder, I mean, that is huge. It would be even deeper if the cardstock was wet. So this is a super great way to add a lot of dimension to your cards. And the other thing is, if you don't want to use the whole thing, you can kind of just use your paper snips and trim on the edge. Give like a little bit of a hive look. That would look really cool as well. But the other thing, let me show you now the difference between these two. This is just a regular embossing folder. And again, let me see, I have a second piece of Very Vanilla. I'm not sure, this one's going to be a little too long, so just going to put this in here and just trim it off a little bit. I want to get my trimmer down. It'll end up shaking the camera. Okay, so what I'll do with this, so this is just your regular embossing folder. And this is called Softly Falling. So for this one, you have to have two plates, or else this pretty much won't give you any impression whatsoever. So you're going to put one on top, one on bottom, cutting pad, and then roll it through. And then this will give you, and you could use this either way. So you could use it on the emboss side or on the deboss side. So that's another thing. Sometimes people don't think about flipping it over. Same with this. You could use it embossed or debossed, depending on what kind of look you want to go for. But that's just, you know, another way of using this. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you before we disconnect here is, let me get this out of the way. So when you're coloring your pieces, so say you don't want to have vanilla and you want to have something different, there's also many different ways you can change this. So for example, you could use your Stampin' Spritzer. So this has Bermuda Bay in it, and you could just spray your cardstock with, you know. So you just want to let this dry. It does dry pretty quickly because of the alcohol. If you want it darker, you add more drops, or you can keep adding more spray to it, and it'll kind of looks like a cloud. Actually, that ended up being a nice pattern of like clouds. I see clouds on the beach. I must need to go to the beach. Clouds on a beach. The other thing you could do is, let's see what color this is. This looks brownish. So I'll go with Early Espresso. You could take your Stampin' Sponge. You could dip it with your sponge and just kind of lightly go over. And that's going to just fill in your dots, just like that. You could take instead, if I can find a sponge dauber. A sponge dauber. This is going to give a way more concentrated look. So same thing again. This is early espresso, I think. Yeah. And then you could go over. Now you can see how much darker that shows up on there. Only thing is you will get a lot of drag marks underneath, so you just want to be careful depending on what it is that you want to do with that. But that's another way you could do it. So sponge, dauber, and then yet another way is if you use, and where did I put them? Maybe they're up here. Hang on for 1 second. Your sponge brayer. So these come, if you haven't seen these come with one handle, and they have 2 spools, I believe. These are a little different than the traditional brayer, the one we used to have. I still do like that one better for certain things. This one gives a much softer look. But if you have the old brayer, you could use that as well. These are great if you have multiple colors that you want to do. They're pretty easy to rinse off. The only thing you want to do is make sure that when you're rubbing that you're not rubbing down, because these little things can rip your foam pads. So then you could just roll on here. And then this gives a much lighter all over sheen. So I'm going to lift this up. Let me close this so I don't stick my arm in it. But I'm not sure if you can tell the difference. So anyway, sponge, dauber, and then sponge roller. So it gives completely different looks. But there's like different things you could do instead of just, you say you have this layer and you don't really know what to do with it. And you're like, what did I do white for? What did I do vanilla? You can make it any color that you like. And also, again, I think if you guys have this, you should definitely try spritzing this. And you could spritz this with the color, because you can wash your plates off. Another thing people do sometimes is they will actually put ink on here and then run it through. And hold on, I'll show you that real quick while we're here. We'll just do the espresso while we're at it. Because you can wash these right off. You can either use a baby wipe. And you want to make sure you're painting on the upside. Is that going to be this one? Let's see. No, this side. Paint on the side that has some stuff on it. That way it's actually going to color your card. You could do it either way, honestly. You'll notice once you put it through once. But these just rinse right off. You can either rinse them off in the sink, wipe them off with a baby wipe or a washcloth, either way. Let me just close this quickly. I'm going to grab a piece of cardstock. Just rip this off. Let me bring this back real quick. And I'll just show you. I did one actually with this, with the Woodlands Textured Impressions embossing folder. Or no, just, yeah, not the dynamic, the regular. And I made, so it looked like there were things behind the trees. That was really cool. Really, really cool. So you're going to run this through. And then, so these are going to be the debossed way. I always end up doing it backwards. So this is color over. So if you want to put your ink, you want to put your ink on the side that says Sizzix. So I always get that backwards until I do it the first time. Forgive me. But anyway, you can transfer your ink to your embossing folder. And then you just take this, like I said, either wipe it off, rinse it under the sink, whichever, dry it off. You can do this 8,000 times and it's never going to make any mess unless you do it with black and you probably don't clean it off ever. Then it probably would leave a little bit of a mess, but I've done this numerous times without any problem. So I hope that that helps you guys out a little bit, gives you a little bit of information on dry embossing. And again, thanks for bearing with me. This is kind of fun to do on a Saturday. I don't usually do Stampin' on a Saturday. And with all like the Easter stuff going on and everything, I kind of thought, well, I had a little time because I'm cooking a ham and it's just in the oven sitting there, so why not? But anyway, the little bit of tips today on dry embossing, hopefully that helped you guys out. If you have anything that you would like to see a video on or you have questions about, don't hesitate to ask. You can leave me a comment here. You can also leave me a comment on my Facebook page, Rachthestamper. I do get comments on that. It seems to be a little bit quicker than YouTube for some reason. I'm not really quite sure why. And I have one other thing to tell you about. If you guys place a $50 order with me in my online store, Rachthestamper.stampinup.net, I will send you a free gift from my grab bag. We got a lot of cool stuff that is not available any longer to get rid of. So again, you would have to buy a $50 order from me and then just shoot me an email. I do check all the orders and whatnot. And if you have any questions about anything with the retirement list, or if you would like to get a new catalog when it comes out, please shoot me an email. I'd love to send you one. So thanks guys for watching. If you have any questions, I'll hang on here for a minute just to see if anybody has anything they want answered. I'm not sure that I can answer, but I will certainly do my absolute best for it. I can't wait till I get the rest of my stamp stuff in. That way I can play with it. This actually, the other day I actually even went over this with that hexagon folder with a piece of that designer series paper out of that new set. And I still can't remember what it's called. Eastern Palace. One of these days I'll remember what they're all called. But anyway, I embossed this. I thought this ended up looking really, really pretty. It kind of looks like jewel tones because it was like a very, very lightly striped fig. And there's almost like a hint of, it's kind of like light fig and dark fig, just the way that they did the color. So that turned out really pretty. So I want to make that into a card. And what I think I'm going to do is put a piece of this on the other side on top of it and then layer it onto a fresh fig piece just to make something different. And then do one of these new sentiments. Now that I learned how to use these a different way, that'll be pretty fun. Hey, Christina! See, you're back from the beach, or you're watching from the beach. I'm a little jealous. It's not very beachy here today, but I know it's supposed to be pretty nice tomorrow. So happy Easter. And I thank all you guys for watching. I hope you have a great Easter and a great rest of your weekend. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. Oh, you're home now. Well, boo for you. You were at the beach, though, stinker. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. Take care. Have a good one.